casing also, unless you go over the certain things. This is Thomas, and as I said, he's a big pulley at the moment. His boiler's in there being worked on. We're hoping in the summer that he'll be back up and running. It won't be long now. This locomotive is local. He was built and went to the Peterborough sugar factory. He spent his entire life pulling wagons around the sugar beet factory in Peterborough. He was replaced by a diesel in the early 70s and was given to the Nene Valley Railway. At which point somebody said, why don't we paint him blue and call him Thomas, like everybody else has done. So they did. And in those days there was quite a lot of local preserved railways around the country that all had Thomases. This one was named Thomas and said, well, we're going to call it Thomas. Why don't we get somebody to come and name it? So they got a dignitary to come and name it Thomas. And it went on the rails and became Thomas. Now, it came here. And then things changed a little bit. Thomas the Tank Engine that we all know was made into movies. Ringo Starr reading the stories and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Became big business. When it became big business, it was bought by a large conglomerate company who bought the rights to Thomas the Tank Engine and his films and his books. And slowly but surely they on the little railways and all the Thomases disappeared. Because basically they didn't want to pay royalties.
Feel there's a butt coming here.
They didn't want to pay royalties to the big company to run their little Thomas locomotives. This one was a bit different. The lawyers at this end had a chat with their lawyers and suggested that they came and look at the little brass plaque that's on the back of this locomotive. The little one underneath the round one. You go and have a look at it. This locomotive was named Thomas
by Reverend W. Waldry
in 1971 by a vicar.
Yep.
And that vicar just happened to be the Reverend R.W. Audrey, the man himself. And at that time, he still owned the rights to his books and his stories. So it was pointed out that he made the locomotive Thomas at that time. We're quite within our rights, and he was quite within his rights to give us permission to call this engine Thomas. And therefore it stays. And I think if you go around the preserved railways in the UK now, this is probably the only one that's left. Because this is the only one that was officially named by the man, and therefore can stay in its picture.
Oh, okay, lovely.
I think there is somewhere. I've never seen that bit, but I think there is somewhere. Yeah, it was challenged, and it is. He gave permission for the locomotive to be called Thomas, and everybody can do that.
Oh, there.
This is Thomas's boiler.
Oh, okay.
This is about a quarter of Thomas. Now, I don't know whether I might be teaching Granny to suck eggs to a few of you, but steam locomotives run on a boiler. You need two things, boys, to make a steam locomotive work. Do you know what they are?
Coal and wood.
Good boy.
Wow.
You actually need coal and you need heat. In this country, we get the heat from coal. But there are strange people over the Atlantic that used to feed their locomotives with wood and all sorts of things. Some used oil. We use coal here because in the olden days we had lots and lots of coal. It's not quite the same now, but... So, a locomotive boiler consists of three parts. There's that bit there that's called the firebox. There's a bit at the front that's the smoke box, and then the bit in the middle is the boiler. And it's lots and lots and lots of tubes. So basically, the fire burns in here, it goes through those tubes, and then it comes out at the front end of the chimney. And it's the fire going through those tubes that heats the water up. Now those tubes are quite critical. Obviously you get water going into the fire, fire going into the water, it's not good. A boiler essentially is a pressure vessel. So Nigel Bresley out there, his boiler runs at 250 psi.
Wow.
When it's fully steamed up. So that's about 10 times the pressure you'd put in your car tyres. It's quite a lot of pressure. They're now very restricted. When a boiler is refurbished, it's on a main line, I think it's 7 years. On a preserved line like this, the boilers are given a 10-year life.
Yeah.
That's all they're allowed to run, and then they have to be inspected and refurbished. This one had 4 years left to run, and it had an issue with some leaking pipes. When the guys took it apart and took a look at the pipes, they found that actually quite a lot of the pipes were leaking. So the decision was made, rather than repair it and put it out for a couple of years, it would actually be taken apart, give it a full overhaul, and then it would go out with a full 10-year ticket. And that's why Thomas is in releases at the moment. The tubes are all out. The tubes are waiting to be repaired. I've just noticed my shoelaces up too. I don't want to go head over heels as we're going round. The tubes are all out at the moment, but the boiler has been totally cleaned up. All the rivets have to be cleared, wire brushed, you can see here, to get rid of anything. So they can all be crack tested to make sure there's no cracks in the metalwork, no cracks in the rivets. It's been given the clean bill of health. It's all now been painted in this black heat-resistant paint that you'll see as you come forward, and then the tubes will be put back in. The strange thing with the tubes is when the tubes go in, they're not welded. The tubes are actually just pushed in and then expanded with a hydraulic expander to fill the hole.
And trying to get them out.
Trying to get them out is one thing. The other thing with that is the material they're made out of. The tubes are made out of a completely different material than this. That material has a higher expansion rate. So as the boiler gets hotter and the pressure increases, the tubes actually expand quicker than the material they're in. So they actually get tighter.
It's not self-sealing.
So it's sealed to start with, but to make sure it's sealed as it gets hotter, the tubes actually expand at a bigger rate and fill the gaps.
More efficient, you get more surface area.
Yes. Well, you've got to you want as much heat into that water as you can. And if you pass it down one big pipe, or you can pass it down hundreds of little pipes.
Yeah, because each tube's got surface area.
Yeah, so you're building up the surface area, getting the most heat down as possible. I mean, Sir Nigel Bresley out there has probably got way more pipes than Thomas.
Yeah.
But that's how it works, getting the heat down and getting it into the water.
Awesome.
So that's where that one goes. There is another boiler behind that. Can you watch this electrical cables that come through, because it's necessary to keep this upright. There's another little boiler there where you can actually see the holes clearer. That's the boiler from a local called Derek Crouch, which you'll see around the other side. So I won't say too much more about it. That's the boiler that belongs to the locomotive that has the cab sitting outside in front of City of Peterborough's boiler. And she's round the back.